Bob Kurtz, Mike Galloway here at the Kingdome, Seattle, Washington. And as you can see, we are set to kick off the Battle of the Monster Trucks.
What's going to be a great battle tonight. It's side-by-side racing competition, Bob, as they'll go down the pull track. Then each one of them will veer off to their respective track, one going to the right, one going to the left, then making a dash towards 6 cars, 2 sets of 3s, and it's going to be tremendous. This first round should be a great one.
You're looking at Rolling Thunder. Jim Oldiker is the driver out of Redondo Beach, California.
Well, this van, when it started life, was actually Jim's commuter van. It was his family van. The interior is completely tricked out with a bed and a television and all the niceties on the inside of the Rolling Thunder. And something unique about it is the engine, as it runs a 671 cubic inch diesel motor. It's a Detroit diesel, has an Allison automatic transmission in it. And I'll tell you what, this van is one of the heavyweights, 18,000 pounds on the van. It's 12 foot high and it's 12.6 wide. It's quite a combination with Rolling Thunder, Bob.
Well, what Rolling Thunder has to do is roll down the track, make the turn, come back, hop a set of 3 cars, second set of 3 cars, then make another turn and come halfway down the track. Competition for Rolling Thunder will be Hot Stuff, Jeff Bainter and crew out of Washington.
This is quite a unique Jeep, built in only 2 months. They built it from scratch. They split the body down the middle. They added 15 inches to it, lengthened the wheelbase to 110 inches, weighs 13,500 pounds, and they're off. And Hot Stuff covers him out of the hole. Hot Stuff is just blazing a trail in front of Rolling Thunder. Hot Stuff makes the turn. Let's see what happens. Down the chute. Watch this Hot Stuff. Takes some time lining up for the cars. And Hot Stuff truly in the lead. But here comes Thunder as he's making a bag.
Thunder having difficulty. It looks like he's hung up as Hot Stuff continues around. And Jeff Bainter looks like he's going to be an easy winner. All he has to turn it now and bring it halfway down the track. And Jeff Bainter will win the competition. He won the very first time out at Anaheim Stadium.
I'll tell you what, Jeff just also took that one home in a very fine run on the good-looking Jeep, powered by a 427 cubic inch supercharged Chevrolet motor called Hot Stuff. And he will advance to the next round of competition as he beats Jim Oldiker in Rolling Thunder. Jim having a tough break as he made the turn, lined up for the cars, and got in a little bit of trouble when he jumped on the first car and then came up to the second car. Well, it was a little bit too short for him.
Here we go, heat number 2, the Monster Truck competition.
Bob, this should be a wild round of competition. Both these vehicles, Frankenstein is owned and driven tonight by Cliff Starboard out of Mulvane, Kansas. And the Monster Vet is also owned by Cliff, but driven by Barry Wynn. And look at this, they're side by side. These are best friends, and they're going at it tooth and toenail. Both the trucks owned by one man, and it's going to be quite a battle. Monster Vet makes the swing early. Cliff Starboard can't get the Frankenstein truck lined up for that first set. Look out, Monster Vet is on his way. Monster Vet is just hammering it out. Cliff Starboard made the turn, and he's headed down that chute.
So here comes Frankenstein, though, now.
Never count Frankenstein out because Cliff is very familiar with it. He's liable to pull this one out of the bag in the last minute. He's over his last set of cars. They're both making the swing towards the home stretch. It looks like it's going to be Monster Vet. Monster Vet holds the lead, and Monster Vet wins it.
Monster Vet, the winner here of the second heat.
Barry Wheat pulls one off with Monster Vet. 12,000 pounds, 11 foot tall, 13.4 wide, 454 cubic inch Chevrolet motor.
Bob Kurtz and Mike Galloway joined here on the floor of the Kingdome in Seattle by Jim Kramer, who drives this machine, Bigfoot. You stand and you look back at these things, Jim. They're 10 feet. Obviously, you don't... Where do you get tires like this?
Well, believe it or not, I bought them right here in Seattle, in this town, about 5 miles down the road. And about 3 years ago, we picked them up, and it took us a while to find a way to build a truck that we could utilize this type of tire.
There's got to be a story, but how old are these things? They look like they've been around a while.
They're probably as old as you are. They're a little over 34 years old, and haven't been produced for probably 20 years. And they used them up in the Alaska tundra in the springtime when the tundra would start to thaw. They can transport goods, materials across the tundra without sinking.
Not very many of them in production, I wouldn't imagine.
No, there's not. There's probably only a handful made.
Jim, what kind of axles do you have to turn the 10-foot tall tires?
When we built the truck, we really ran into a problem with the axles. We use all Rockwell standard components, but we take 4 axles, cut them apart, and take the best components from all 4 axles and make 2 good, strong axles. It takes that type of engineering to hold the torque and the traction that this tire can put out.
Gear reduction must be something tremendous with this kind of tire on it. What kind of gear reduction are we looking at?
On the low side of our transfer case, you're looking at up into 300 numbers for gear reduction. That kind of limits us on speed. On the low side, we shift to the high side of the transfer case, and we can probably achieve 60 miles an hour if you could find somebody to drive it that fast.
It's an amazing story. Bigfoot, one of a kind. Here we go now, heat number 3. This is Wild Stag, Cliff Starbird again, going against Hot Stuff, and the rookie Jeff Boehner, who has done nothing but win.
That rookie is showing his style tonight. This is a brand new creation for Cliff Starbird, this Wild Stag. It's a 1987 Ford Mustang convertible, supercharged alcohol burning motor. It should be very, very tough.
Here we go, should be a dandy heat.
Cliff Starbird has broke something in Wild Stang. Hot Stuff is on his way. He's checking things out, slowing down a little bit. He may have problems as he's looking back towards the left rear, but I believe he's got enough power to make it on around with Hot Stuff. Lands on that first set, works it right on over. He knows he's on his way to the final round of competition. All he has to do is get over this last set of cars, make the turn, and head down that front straightaway. And he's doing it in very fine style right at this moment.
Well, we've seen Boehner now in 3 different heats in a couple of events that he's won every time.
Jeff has done a great job with this brand new monster Jeep.
And Hot Stuff will be the winner here in heat number 3.
Cliff Starbird had some transmission problems with this supercharged Mustang.
Here we go for the winner in the Monster Truck competition. Hot Stuff all set to go against the Vets.
This is final round. This is for the championship. Monster Vet up against Hot Stuff, and Hot Stuff to an early lead. It's going to be tough all night. Watch Cliff. He wants this championship. Swings hard, makes a good lap. They're lined up, but Monster Vet's got a little bit of advantage. It's neck and neck. It's neck and neck. Monster Vet may have just a little bit of a lead. It's going to go to that final turn. Monster Vet clearing the tires. Oh, my heavens, it's going to be down to the final turn. They're making the swing together. Who's it going to be? It's anybody's race. It's Hot Stuff. Hot Stuff. Well, Bob, that one wasn't over until they reached the finish line, and Hot Stuff taking the lead by only maybe a truck length.
So the rookie, Jeff Boehner, wins again.
A beautiful job, and he is the Monster Truck champion this weekend.
And coming up first, this is Hot Stuff out of Yakima, Washington. Jeff Boehner, who's 25 years old and had to sell everything he owned to buy this machine. Here's the pull.
He makes it look so easy.
86 Jeep CJ7, 427 supercharged engine, 600 horsepower, and makes it all the way through. We might point out, Margo, they're not pulling 50,000 pounds. They dropped it down a little bit for the monster trucks.
And we're going for times in these.
Yep, that's right. Barefoot Fred Schaefer, one of the most famous monster trucks of all, comes up now, and let's see what the Barefoot machine can do. It is Chevy power, and look at him fly down that dirt ramp. Barefoot, a neat run there, no problems at all, not much slippage. And coming up now, the Virginia Giant, and the times, have just got the hot stuff at 10:22, Barefoot 8.15. Let's see what the Virginia Giant can do. Good launch. Bill Henkel out of Winchester, Virginia. Deal Wilson, his partner. I think Deal's doing the driving all the way through. And let's see what he got for the time. He's got an 8.18 second time. That's 3/100ths of a second slower than Barefoot, so Barefoot takes home the bacon. And now, probably the most famous monster truck of all, Bigfoot, out of St. Louis, Missouri. Jim Kramer, the driver. Margo, you won't find a sharper driver around. Kramer knows his stuff.
He's like the original Bigfoot driver. Been around for a while.
He's got to beat his old nemesis Barefoot, 8.15 seconds. Let's see what Bigfoot can do. $100,000 Ford truck. The original. Doing something he doesn't normally do, pull a sled. Off the line slowly, but he's got that power to the ground, no wheel spin whatsoever. Bigfoot looks pretty good. Let's see what he's... In fact, I'd say he's got an excellent time. Bigfoot through the traps. And here it is, 10:22 for hot stuff. Barefoot 8:15, Virginia Giant 8:18, and Bigfoot a sizzling 8:06. So Bigfoot wins round one. And that's Barefoot, Fred Schaefer.
Now, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Crisscross. Does that mean like fender bender material?
It could definitely be dangerous. Bigfoot coming up first against Barefoot. Two of the most famous monster trucks in the world. They will each crush this set of cars, crisscross across the track, and then crush the other set of cars. The first one through the finish line, through the traps, is the winner. Barefoot to the closest machine to us, the far side, that is Bigfoot.
About the only way you can tell is the American flag and the Chevy flag on Barefoot, and the Ford flag flies alone on Bigfoot.
They're both about the same color. Look at this. Bigfoot getting way up there. Look at that. Barefoot almost going over on his left side. Look at this. Whoa, Nelly. Now, Bigfoot waits for Barefoot. He doesn't want to run into him.
I'm not taking any chances. Bold animosity's popping out.
Right. Jim Kramer, the driver of Bigfoot. There's Barefoot. Fred Schaefer. There's Bigfoot this side. Almost goes on his side, but gets through the cars first. There's Barefoot. And the glass flies. So Jim Kramer, the personable young driver of Bigfoot, takes home the bacon in the first round here. That's his mechanic underneath, checking out underneath. That machine takes an awful lot of abuse going over those cars, Margo.
Looks like he's actually holding on to one of the stabilizing bars underneath that truck.
There's again, that's Bigfoot. Look at that, completely up in the air. Looks like a overweight Blue Angel.
And that Blue Angel right there is where he maintained his drive and beat the Chevy off the crushed cars.
Yep, he was first through the cars. There is Barefoot, Fred Schaefer. Now let's see what happens. Margo, it looks like he almost goes over on his side.
Now at that point he's even, but this is where the way this truck is built comes through. It's taller than Bigfoot. It was originally built as a show truck. This competition in trying to go fast crushing cars has really put this truck at a disadvantage.
Exactly, and you've got to remember, these trucks are virtually hand-built. They are assembled by hand, and there are literally thousands and thousands of pieces that can go wrong. Look at that, almost over on his side. That's got to scare the dickens out of that driver.
Tall truck, a lot of suspension. He does what we call pogoing, and caused him trouble.
Let's go to the next round. This is hot stuff. And going up against the Virginia Giant. The Virginia Giant, Deal Wilson, the driver. This is a beautiful machine, again.
Another beautiful machine that Deal keeps in his garage. You can see that's his disc brake there in the middle. They're spinning. That's to keep the weight down. If you had to put disc brakes on each of those huge tires, it'd run up to a lot of weight and money.
Hot stuff, the near lane, and on the other side, the Virginia Giant, far lane. We're ready to go. Hot stuff, an 86 Jeep CJ7 427 supercharged engine, putting out about 600 horsepower. About 1,000 pounds lighter than the Virginia Giant. Virginia Giant through the cars, no problem at all. There goes hot stuff. Jeff Boehner out of Yakima. Boehner gets through a little bit faster. Short wheelbase can turn real fast. Boehner sets up for the cars. The hot stuff machine on the far, but here comes the Virginia Giant. Hits the cars first. and just flies right through him, drops off there at the end, but gets through, and it is the Virginia Giant.
13 years of racing finesse, 1 out.
A tough break for Hot Stuff. Boehner was faster between the cars, but then seemed to slow down once he hit those cars. $100,000 Corvette Flame Red Hot Stuff there on the right. The Virginia Giant out of Winchester, Virginia. There's a good shot at him.
No expense was spared on that truck, and the way it handled...
Virtually hand-built, front and rear steering. They can get up to around 55, 60 miles an hour on the freeway, but they don't do that very often. They're built more for low-end grunt. Tremendous amount of torque. Okay, lining up now, and this is round-robin competition. And we go up now against Bigfoot. Bigfoot against the Virginia Giant. This is going to be interesting, Margot King.
Now, it's interesting the fact that these monster trucks are battling each other at this stage of the competition. The main goal, to have a chance to compete against the bear track, the tank truck that we haven't seen yet.
Right. We had a shot of it earlier. We're going to see a lot more of it later. If you've never seen it, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because it will flat blow you away. There's Bigfoot, the most famous monster truck of them all. Bob and Marilyn Chandler out of St. Louis, Missouri, built their first one back in the early 70s. And they've become millionaires because of their trucks.
They've come a long way to the truck we've got now. It's a 1988 Ford F-250 with a 460 blown with 2 Predator carburetors sitting up top.
This is Virginia Giant on this side, the near lane, and on the far side, the Bigfoot machine. Jim Kramer doing the driving. Kramer, a very, very professional and experienced driver, and Kramer puts the power to the ground, comes back around through the mud, up on the cars, and it is Bigfoot in control at this point, Margot.
And technically, Bigfoot had the shorter route, and because they don't make 2 laps, that definitely helped him win this event.
So, Bigfoot takes on and takes the bacon over the Virginia Giant. So, Bigfoot has won the first 2 events here in the Seattle Kingdome. In serving notice, he is the truck to beat tonight. And the crowd loves him. You gotta say, there's Kramer waving to the crowd.
We've got Barefoot up against the Virginia Giant. And this is a drag race where they're going to leap over the cars, and the times are measured by when their front wheels hit the ground on the other side of the car. There's a shot of Barefoot.
When they clear the final car, that's when the checkered flag drops. So the Virginia Giant, Dale Wilson, the driver, a little heavier machine, a little higher machine too, it looks like.
But these trucks are pretty equal on the horsepower, and they're both powerful machines, but the Virginia Giant does have an advantage because he's a lower truck. He's going to be able to make the best time over that car, technically, just based on his suspension.
Okay, now remember, this is a timed event, but it's the first car over the final car. And they should run about 5, 6, 7 seconds. Okay, here we go. Barefoot on the inside, the outside rather, the far lane, and the Virginia Giant on the inside lane. Apparently he is measuring off the distance, Margot. That's the only thing I can figure.
Just trying to decide how much gas he wants to use. You know, it's pretty critical on entering when you hit that car. If you hit it too fast, you'll get sent straight up in the air. If you hit it too slow, the competition may take you over.
And spending too much time in the air will cost you time on the ground. You can't be moving that much forward, that fast forward, if you're up in the air. Crowd here in the Seattle Kingdome, a family crowd, a lot of kids and a lot of moms and pops out here enjoying this USHRA Association action.
And they're making sure their flash bulbs are in operating order.
Here we go, Virginia Giant there in the car's second, a problem. Whoa! He stalls, and Barefoot almost goes over. The Virginia Giant stopped as if he'd hit an invisible wall, and there's something wrong.
He's in pain.
He is in pain. There's something wrong with the Virginia Giant.
Something that happens that you don't think about too often. Well, here's a shot of Barefoot.
Well, Barefoot there. Oh, my goodness. He almost goes over on his head.
Having his share of problems, but not near the problems that the Virginia Giant had. Great jump. And then all of a sudden, look at the smoke, Larry. Havoc underneath the hood of the Virginia Giant.
Looked like the engine either blew or stopped instantly. And he is still up there, and he is in pain.
When these trucks stall, the steering's hydraulic. If he happens to have his hand twisted inside that steering wheel, it can twist it around a little more rapidly than your bones are able to take.
So it can actually whip the finger or the thumb if your thumbs have to be caught in there, because he looked like he was holding his hand. He's waving to the crowd, but the Virginia Giant has knocked out of competition here early.
Well, Deal is a professional, so he's going to drive his truck back to the truck, even if it hurts.
The second round, the legendary Bigfoot, Jim Kramer, and you will not find a smarter and sharper driver. Kramer knows this machine from front to rear, and he's tough. A good driver, very intelligent driver. Look at Kramer's stage. Bigfoot coming up. Now, he broke his stabilizing bar before the race, so when he was ready to race, Hot Stuff wasn't, so it's going to be a single run for Bigfoot. He'll be going for time. Whoa, and he comes down hard. And Bigfoot, no problems at all getting over those cars. Kramer looks around. No problems at all, Margot.
Looks like he's got his camera, his video camera, mounted in the passenger seat. You know, they never stop doing research and development in these
That's
trucks.
Right. Let's take another look at Bigfoot. Single run again. Remember, it's a single run. It's up in the air and launches and comes down on those cars hard. Comes way over to the side, almost goes over. He gets through. Another look. Look at the cars, how flattened they've already been on the other monster trucks. Ooh, that's got to be scary, Margot. I think you're going to, that's a long way to fall.
That's right.
And coming up now, this is Hot Stuff, the Jeep. Kind of interesting, a very short wheelbase machine. Jeff Boehner of Yakima, Washington. This is a kid who sold everything he had to buy and build this machine, to buy most of it and then build the rest of it.
And he's running up against a field tonight of veteran monster truck drivers, and he's doing a pretty good job of it.
It's an 86 Jeep CJ7 monster truck powered by a 427 Chevy engine. It is supercharged, running a turbo 400 transmission. You don't mess with clutches on these machines.
And I love his chrome wheelie bar, though.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Weighs 13,700 pounds. Hot Stuff. Jeff Boehner of Yakima, Washington. He does this full time. This is how he makes a living. A lot of four-wheel freaks up here in the Northwest.
Can you imagine trying to convince your mother this is what you want to do for a living?
Whoa, and look at him get up in the air, launching way, way up there and coming back down and across it. That was a very spectacular jump.
I thought he was going to lose his hood there for a minute, but it stayed on.
Hot Stuff out of Yakima, Washington. Local boy, and they love him up here in Seattle, let me tell you. I can't figure out what that green flag is on the right-hand side. The American flag on the left-hand side. So we'll see what happens.
That is a tank truck, and that is what Bigfoot actually won the right to compete against. But Bigfoot opts not to run against the tank truck. Doesn't feel that it's fair.
So that's Barefoot Tracks. Fred Schaefer, the owner. Steve Bibbins, the driver, out of Pontoon, Illinois. It's a World War II Army tank with a Chevy pickup truck body on top going up against Barefoot. Fred Schaefer doing the driving.
Steve's been working for Fred Schaefer for 9 years, but as a mechanic, this is his first season driving. And look at him beat his boss up.
22,000 pounds in that tank, 11 tons. Outweighs the monster truck of Bigfoot. Barefoot, look, he's happy. Look at this guy. Spinning around here on the floor, and the crowd loves it. They can't believe this tank. And there's Barefoot finishing second to the monster tank. I think Bigfoot made the right decision, Margot King, by not coming out and going up against the tank.
But these vehicles are built to be spectacles. They're monster spectacles, whether
right.
they're tracks or wheels.
No question about it. The crowd loves them here at the Pontiac Kingdome. Look at that.
With Gary Sarton in the Skull Bandit, and running along with him is Randy Lynn in the Hot Tempered Jeep. And this is Randy's first time out, and of course we'd like to mention that it is a lady, so a lot of the lady fans are really standing behind her and hoping she does a good job.
Be interesting to see how the new racer does in the brand new Jeep Monster machine. And of course, Gary Sarton with the Skull Bandit, always one of the toughest on the National Event Tour. Now we're qualifying for 8 available positions here in this one-shot qualifying round. This is the only chance they'll get to place themselves in the field. You have to wonder what Randy Lynn is thinking about in front of her hometown fans. The Aberdeen, Washington lady looking up against one of the toughest there in the other lane. The green flag drops, and look at Sarton drive away. Tremendous air, a little bit of a rough landing as Randy Lynn finally makes it over the cars. Kelly, I'd say Randy was taken a little bit conservative there.
Yeah, definitely a disappointing run for Randy there, and especially in front of the hometown fans. Thought it would be a little bit rough.
Now, she was more concerned with doing things properly during this qualifying round than going out and getting a little too radical. Gary Sarton, the Skull Bandit, receives an elapsed time of 4.20 seconds. And the big black Chevrolet from the Los Angeles, California area indeed is one of the favorites coming into this event. You know, Gary Sarton is no newcomer. Exactly. It's a very, very spectacular maneuver, but of course the closer you can keep the machine to the ground, the quicker your elapsed time is going to be. Sarton will be probably happy with that 4.20 second elapsed time, while the lady from Aberdeen, Washington receives a 7.70 second clocking. Well, here's a guy who will definitely be trying to put on a show in front of the hometown fans, Kelly. Jeff Baintner out of Yakima, Washington. We've seen him a bunch of times on ESPN's coverage of U.S. Orbit Association camel events, and he is definitely notorious for his craziness.
Yeah, Jeff is in the high-voltage Jeep, and this ought to be really exciting. He gets a little crazy.
He debuted this car at a particular event of the U.S. Orbit Association Tour in 1989 in Oklahoma City. And as a matter of fact, in that debut, it won. Look at this thing leave the starting line, actually carrying the wheels. Tremendous air for Baintner, and what a landing, as the crowd loves every minute of that one. An excellent, excellent pass. In fact, a lot quicker than I think, Kelly, people thought he was going to go. You can see the machine actually pick the front wheels up on the starting line launch, and when he hits the first set of cars, tremendous amount of air. And as always, that short wheelbase Jeep comes down a little sideways, and those tires just send it back up over and over on every attempt at landing. What a ride. And the elapsed time, 3.76 seconds. That's going to be incredibly tough to beat.
Next up in line is Taurus. He's driven by Kirk Frankish, and he's from Canada. And he's been around for a long time. Should be an exciting run.
It's true, he just purchased this truck from the Willman family in Illinois. This is one of the original heavyweight Tauruses, 15,000 pounds plus for this Chevrolet. And you can see that Frankish decides to keep it a little bit slower.
Coming up next, we've got Hot Stuff. This is driven by Todd Blazer, and Todd is from Milwaukee.
Now, that particular Jeep is Jeff Baintner's old Hot Stuff Jeep. This is the machine that you saw him so many times on ESPN's coverage last year of U.S. Orbit Association events. Blazer is brand new. Used to be a crew chief for several monster truck teams out of California. He makes his solo effort. A lot of air there, but a beautiful job landing that thing. I'll tell you what, that was definitely a crossed-up situation at the end of the cars, and this rookie, his first year of competition, may have just put down a statement about his driving skills. Tell you what, very seldom do you see a brand new driver come out and handle a situation like that. In fact, very seldom do you see a brand new driver come out and take chances like that.
And barefoot.
Again, Warren Davis is driving a relatively new machine for him. The big barefoot Chevrolet is one of the heavier ones out there as well. And he again takes a very, very conservative approach, but that's pretty much what you want to do in this situation. It's one thing to go out and put on a show for the fans, but it's another to qualify for one of these Camel Mud Monster Series events.
Up next online is Monster Mash. This is Mike Welch, and he's from Washington also. This is going to be interesting. Looks pretty heavy.
It is heavy. As a matter of fact, he's done everything he can to lighten it up, but you can see even on that starting line launch that the Chevrolet power plant in this early model Ford is still lacking just a little bit compared to some of the new supercharged fuel-injected motors. As you can see, he takes this machine over the course basically in the kind of fashion that he was looking for. I think that Mike Welch's biggest concern at this event is going to be consistency.
This is always one that the crowd loves to watch.
I'll tell you what, Bob Chandler's Bigfoot team from St. Louis, Missouri is definitely intent on winning that $100,000 pot at the end of the rainbow for the 1990 Camel Mud Monster Series. This is Bigfoot number 7, but it's received a few innovations recently, exceptionally powerful new motor, and indeed Patterson is certainly one of the best drivers in Bob Chandler's stable. Watch for Patterson to make a picture-perfect run here, trying to keep this truck low to the ground. Leaves the starting line. Nice leap. A little bit rougher landing than I think Patterson probably would have liked. And that actually may have slowed the elapsed time a little bit. In fact, it may not be enough to threaten Jeff Baintner's 3.76 second leader.
It's not a bad run, though. He didn't see much air.
I'll tell you, the initial hit was just about perfect.
Okay, online now we have the #1 qualifier, Jeff Baintner, in high voltage against Bigfoot, one of everyone's favorites.
Like we said, this was a good news, bad news situation for that man right there, Jeff Baintner. He qualifies #1 in front of his hometown audience, and now he has to race Bigfoot in the very first round. If he could pull off a defeat of the Big Blue Ford, it would be the biggest single moment of his life. He's already had so many incredible situations on our ESPN coverage of these events that he's already becoming almost a household name, despite his lack of very many national event wins, to be honest. In the meantime, the Bigfoot team is ready for blood on this one. Checking each driver, they're ready. They leave the line. Bigfoot with an early lead. Look at Baintner. Unbelievable. Look at this driving job. Absolutely incredible. Stopping within inches of the wall. The crowd can't believe it, and rightfully so. He actually pulled it off, Kelly. He beats Bigfoot in the opening round.
Brett, Jeff has to be ecstatic about that.
Who couldn't be? Like, when you can drive around Bigfoot on the slow motion replay, you can see that Bigfoot left the starting line first with an honest 5-foot advantage going into the on-ramp. Here you see Bigfoot take it to the air. Boehner on the other side was even higher, but indeed took one of the rougher landings ever. As you can see, Gene Patterson actually had a beautiful, beautiful run here. A little bit of a bounce there at the finish line, though, putting him on his side, but I think he was steering away from Jeff Boehner more than anything else.
Any lap time on that of 4.50 seconds. That was an excellent run for Bigfoot, but Jeff Boehner was taking the ride of his life in the other lane.
Look at this thing leave the starting line. Wheels up like a dragster leaving the line. Now, when he hits the ramp, watch this thing take to the air. You want altitude? Take a look at this. Flash bulbs go off around the Kingdome. Now watch this landing. Every bit of weight of this vehicle on the right front tire. Boehner almost noses the thing over. He actually pulled the right rear tire completely off the rim. Same thing with the left side on the second bounce. Still up on one tire as he tries to get to the brakes. Like I said, the brakes don't do you any good when the machine's in the air. He stops it within inches of the wall. How close was it?
An unbelievably close race with Jeff Boehner having a time of 4.38 seconds. Just 0.12 of a second faster than Bigfoot. Online now we have Barefoot and Monster Mash, the apt name for this truck.
Mike Wells, the Washington veteran, over in the far lane. And of course, Warren Davis out of Montana in the Barefoot Chevrolet. Both of these are big-time heavyweights. Big advantage in the horsepower department, though, goes to the blue Chevrolet. The yellow Monster Mash entry utilizing basically a single 4-barrel carbureted Chevrolet power plant that's putting about 700 horsepower out, and there you see the difference. Warren Davis just drives away from Mike Welsh. I'll tell you what, the landing ramp on this track, if you don't hit it perfectly, you're going to slam the nose down hard enough.
Seconds, but it was good enough to beat Monster Mash.
You're looking at one of the more unusual innovations in this sport. Neon tubes that carry the electrical charge to the spark plugs in Randy Lynn's hot-tempered Jeep, Kelly.
Running alongside Randy is Todd Blazer in his hot stuff Jeep.
Remember, we talked about Todd being a rookie. This is, believe it or not, both these drivers' first season of racing. And very subtly, you see side-by-side Jeep. Blazer leaves the starting line and starts train lengthening the Aberdeen, Washington lady. If nothing else, she manages to keep it under control, trying to drive around Todd in the shutdown area, but at that point, the Wisconsin youngster had it under control.
Really was no contest there. Looks like Randy went for quite a bumpy ride. Continuing the action now with Taurus. This is driven by Kurt Frankish of Canada. And he's always tough to beat.
Well, like I said, he's going to have to come up with some serious power to dethrone this man. This incredible machine, Gary Sarton's Skull Bandit, has been extremely strong, qualified in the number 2 spot behind Jeff Boehner. And one thing about Gary Sarton, Kelly, he is not afraid to put this thing into orbit if he has to get around the opponent.
Looks like we'll be seeing some great action in this one.
Saw him during qualifying put this thing literally 10 feet in the air. The Skull Bandit in the far lane moves it up. The Taurus entry out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, ready for the drop of the flag. Sarton gets the advantage and starts driving away from there, landing almost on the landing ramp itself. Sarton manages to keep it under control.
We've got the Skull Bandit online, and Barefoot. Should be a good race.
Yeah, I really don't think there's any partiality with the crowd at all either. I think they're about 50% rooting for one, 50% for the other. Side by side on the cars, absolutely perfect race. And Kelly, I don't think anybody could call that one. Our event director on the floor, George Carpenter, is probably watching the slow motion replay himself. Here we see they leave the starting line dead even. Barefoot pulls up on the ramp, then Sarton drives around in the air. Here comes Davis in Barefoot as Sarton wheel stands again. They are absolutely side by side. Our event director, George Carpenter from the U.S. Hobbit Association, will have to make the decision based on a videotape replay. That's the official way it goes, Kelly. At U.S. Hobbit Association Racing, if it's too close to call visually, they use a videotape camera mounted directly at the finish line to call the winner. We'll just have to wait for the word.
We've been watching the slow motion replay. I cannot tell who won that race. Brett, this is a real tribute to the sportsmanship of these drivers to go back and run this race again.
The flag drops again, side by side. Sarton, though, drives away for a full truck-length victory at the finish line. What a top-end charge Gary Sarton has in that machine. The crowd obviously going crazy, and Sarton himself says, hey, what did you expect? The Skull Bandit team picks up the victory here at the Seattle Kingdome as the crowd gives both drivers literally a standing ovation. The helmet comes off. What a battle. We are ready for the first round of competition in side-by-side monster truck racing here at this U.S. Hobbit Association Championship battle. Dennis Anderson in the near lane. The Gravedigger 1950 Chevrolet leaves the starting line against Travis Welch in the Destroyer. But look at the Gravedigger come on for an absolute blowout of the local Washington driver. While Travis Welch left the starting line right with the big green Chevrolet, Anderson flat-footed it at the first set of crush cars and then wheel stood his way across the finish line. He'll advance to the semi-final round for the Chevrolet fans. Anderson heads back to the pits to perform any in-between rounds repairs that may be needed, but at this point the machine looks clean. Meanwhile, the local hero in the Super Pete 1947 Peterbilt tractor, Mike Welch, lines up on the starting line for his first round battle. Now, interestingly enough, Welch will get a solo run here in the first round as Terry Woodcock in the unnamed and untamed Dodge could not return. Look at Welch nearly up on two wheels, even on a solo run here in the first round. Obviously, he wants to give the hometown fans a show with the Super Pete Peterbilt. Welch will return to the pit area as the next pair of machines approaches the starting line. And interestingly enough, it looks like this as well may be a solo effort. Ryan Mabey in the AM/PM Boss Chevrolet fleet side out of California was originally scheduled to take on Mike West in the Nasty Habits crew cab, but West himself scattered an engine with severe damage in the qualifying round, and Mabey will get a very, very lucky free ride into the semifinal round. He'll use this effort to test the track and the truck, and as you can see, very conservative again off the starting line. Mabey gets back at the throttle hard, bounces around at the finish line, but he'll take a free ride into the semifinal round as well. But in the meantime, out of the state of Georgia, the incredible Sampson Chevrolet, as we pointed out, one of the original monster machines, moves to the starting line. Originally created by Don Maples in the late 1970s, the Sampson 1 was one of the very first race monster trucks. But now he'll be taking on one of the toughest in the business. 24-year-old Jack Willman Jr. out of Granite City, Illinois, in the incredible Taurus Chevrolet, the same that took him to the #2 spot in the World Championship race in last season's events. The Taurus Chevrolet inching forward to the starting line with 572 cubic inches of supercharged Chevrolet power, and certainly Robert Parker, the driver of Sampson 1, is going to have to do everything within his power to hold off the purple Chevrolet in the far lane. Inching forward, both drivers staged, waiting for the flagman's signal. Driver reaction all important, and the whole shot goes to the Taurus Chevrolet. It's not even going to be a contest. Willman shuts the power down well before the finish line when he realizes that he had the race in hand. Super Pete is ready to take the ride of his life as he is faced here in the semifinal round in Seattle with battling Dennis Anderson and the incredible Gravedigger. The semifinal round, the winner advances to the final, and right on the green flag start, problems set in for Welch, and Anderson literally flies into his first ever U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship round. For Mike Welch, at this point, we can only guess about the unfortunate problems with the transmission. We had just received word that indeed it was a transmission line that was the problem. He was able to repair that, and apparently the Peterbilt can run again. Mike, what exactly did you have in mind?
Oh, I just want to really put on a good show for these people. We felt kind of bad there that we had a little problem, so people at the United States Hot Rod Association said it was okay for me to come back out and do a little freestyling with Super Pete for the people here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you. You want to see Washington's only monster truck come out and do some freestyle action? Let him hear it! There's your answer. The floor is yours, sir. Mike Welch out of Bellingham. Now get a chance, a very rare chance indeed, to perform solo in a special freestyle period for his hometown fans, courtesy of the U.S. Hot Rod Association officials. The one-of-a-kind early model Peterbilt cab over gets ready to fire up and will get its own shot at taking on the cars any particular way he desires. Obviously, the crowd is waiting, anticipating probably one of the more wilder segments of this particular event, as Welch heads out to the cars to show the fans what the incredible Super Pete can do. Wheeling around, the front wheels 4 feet in the air as Welch proves that he can get this thing off the ground. Spinning around one more time, he'll take yet another hit, actually getting the inside wheels off the ground on that turn. And now Welch will set himself up to take a hard left into the cars one more time. Bringing it around, he's in the air. And on his side, Mike Welch puts the Super Pete Peterbilt literally on its side in front of his hometown fans, and they can't believe their eyes. We can see in the cockpit of the machine that Welch himself telling the officials he's okay. But what a wild ride, and even Mike Welch didn't have that kind of show planned, I guarantee it. I guess the only way out of it at this point is through the window. Sure enough, Welch will hoist himself out of the floundered Peterbilt to the cheers of his hometown fans. What an incredible job. You want sportsmanship and showmanship. Mike Welch has got plenty of both here at Seattle. Taking a look at the replay, Welch again setting himself up for that hard left. Hits the dirt berm, and that's what put the inside wheels up. And a rough landing as he comes down hard on the right side of this truck. He hits the berm with the right front tires as the left tires hit the cars, and down on its side comes Super Pete in one of the more bizarre incidents we've seen yet on the USHRA Association Tour this year. It looks like Welch will be able to limp the slightly wounded Super Pete off the Kingdome floor. From our vantage point, only a flat right rear tire. And as Brian Carson prepares for his incredible battle against a wall of cars, we prepare to determine the other half of the championship USHRA Association Monster Truck final round here at the Kingdome in Seattle. Jack Wilman and Taurus, the #2 qualifier in this 8-truck extravaganza, will be battling Brian Mabey out of Los Angeles, California in the AM/PM Boss, one of the many machines in Super Truck fleet owner Seth Dalton's stables from Southern California. At this point, Mabey knows that from a horsepower standpoint, he is nearly outclassed. This is what it looks like from the bumper of the incredible Taurus, our special on-truck camera giving us a vantage point never before seen. Wilman backing up behind the starting line, trying to align the Taurus machine where he thinks traction and a soft landing will be best applied. Mabey waiting patiently staged in the red and white Chevrolet in the near lane. Now waiting for the starter signal to determine the other half of the final round here at Seattle. They leave the starting line together, but already the Taurus Chevrolet pulls out an advantage and then sails to a championship final round berth. And it has become the spectator dream race that everybody was hoping for. The match that virtually every spectator and both of these drivers wanted so badly has now become reality. The winner takes it all. Gravedigger versus Taurus on the line and ready. Gravedigger gets the whole shot. Both trucks incredibly high in the air, but the win goes to the 1950 Chevrolet Gravedigger. Both machines sliding to a halt, literally within a few feet of each other, nose to nose, in what could only be described as the highest flying final we ever could have imagined. Dennis Anderson, although a campaigner for years, pulls off his first USHRA Association National Championship victory. So the final monster truck results here in Seattle find our 4 first-round competitors. Travis Welch in the... Out of the cab, you couldn't ask for a wilder final round than that.
Yeah, you know, I was sitting over here pumping myself. I really wanted to pull this one off. We got a great crowd here tonight. You know, we got up there, we were choosing lanes. Jackie wanted to know which lane I wanted. We both were having problems, you know, taking off with traction. He got over and swept his lane. I said, well, what the heck, I'll give mine a shot. My lane's pretty clean, and it worked.
I want you to watch the replay because you do not realize how far out of shape Jack Wilman was in the other lane. But so were you. Here's the launch. The whole shot is what won that starting line lead for you.
Yeah, that's what I knew. I knew if we got a good, you know, a good shot off the line there, that's what was going to do it.
Now look at this height.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you know, I knew I hadn't run that lane hard all night. Oh, wow, that looks like one of my runs there. Taurus is pulling off. Yeah, I didn't run that lane all night, you know, that hard, so I knew that lane was going to give me more air, but I felt like I could get a better hole shot, and I felt like that's where the race was going to be won.
I know both of you wanted this so bad.
Seattle is known for good music, decent coffee houses, and a reputation for bringing down the house when the monster trucks come to town. 56,000 jammed inside the Kingdome for the USHRA Monster Jam, and Bob Cole gets them going with his high-flying antics as the crowd's pumped up for monster truck race action. Here's a great matchup early between 2 legends. Bigfoot on the bottom, Barefoot on the top. This one is close, but it goes to Bigfoot as he gets the nod into the next round. Now, Tom Mintz is notorious for racing the Monster Patrol to his mechanical limits, and against Snakebite, he doesn't hold back. Even though he landed off center, he's able to move to the semifinal round versus Taurus with the win. But that's where Mintz gives new meaning to the phrase, that was close. In unbelievable fashion, he saves Monster Patrol from flipping over. What a move by Tom Mintz. Indeed, you deserve to take a bow after that one. That'll be a classic IMJ moment for a long time. Let's take another look at it. You can see almost over on his lid, but somehow Tom Mintz is able to gather the Monster Patrol in despite the fact that the wheels virtually touch the sides to the ground. What an incredible moment on IMJ. Here we go to the other semifinal round race where Bigfoot faces off against Gravedigger. Digger is able to come away with the victory, but in the finals, he would lose to Taurus, although Taurus and Eldon Depew will actually roll it over during the freestyle portion of the competition. It was a wild, wild night in Seattle. Taurus is the winner, and the fans are rocking and rolling as Eldon Depew climbs out of the truck unharmed. Sasquatch was hoping to leave his mark on the Pacific Northwest in front of nearly 50,000 fans inside the Seattle Kingdome. But local hero Chuck Jordan and Survivor were there, looking to tame the woodland beast.
This is close to my home, too. This is Seattle, and I'm going to put the hammer down.
Let's swing into action. The fans were pumped, and they wanted full throttle racing. Going to round one, it's Survivor off the start as Chuck Jordan gets a good run, but Sky Hartley guns the big Ford on the straight line course and sails into the final round. The instant replay shows a substantial leap by Sasquatch. As the dust settled, Alan Pizzo and the Predator would find themselves pitted against the heavy Chevy, Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. Predator pounced at the line, then sank the Venom, defeating Digger in a photo finish to advance into the final round of racing.
All these guys are really tough out here. You know, Predator, man, he's running some of the top equipment out here, and Bigfoot, all these guys, man, it's any dog's day anymore, you know.
That it is. In the final round, Sasquatch and Predator go side by side at the start. Then Sky pushes his monster to the hilt to just edge out the aggressive Predator and take the victory. The fans didn't seem to mind a Sasquatch running loose in their hometown. In fact, they loved it.
That 99 Ford did his job. Real excited. I've been coming here 4 years now, and this is my first win here, and I love Seattle.
Welcome back to Seattle, the Kingdome. Mike Hogwood along with Scott Douglas. What a crowd we have here tonight. And again, Scott will remind our fans that we're going to run in a straight line tonight. Horsepower, the key tonight.
And that means you're going to keep your eyes on Barefoot. You're going to keep your eyes on Sampson with that 572 Hemi. He is a guy who can really go on this course. Also, you want to watch as the night goes on, Monster Patrol. But we're getting a new one here in Jurassic Attack.
Kevin Wink is out of Alberta, Canada, and we'll see what he can do. I love the way Sampson looks. There is Jurassic Attack. It's not a bad-looking machine either.
Oh, that's one the kids got to love. Let's see if he can run, though. That's the question. He's going up against the powerful Sampson.
Definitely the underdog in this first match here. And again, going in a straight line, a lot of horsepower, and wow! Look at Sampson go.
It was a no-brainer once he got to that second jump because, again, that 572 Keith Black Hemi is just makes so much horsepower, and when he gets to the jump, you can just see him explode. Watch. Wow. Like Michael Jordan hang time.
That is something. So, Sampson advances with Dan Patrick. Now we go to Maniac. Don Frankish will go up against Monster Patrol. Rod Schmidt, I would say Monster Patrol probably the favorite in this run.
Interesting contrast in drivers here. You've got the Canadian in Maniac, and our first look at him. Rod Schmidt, a new driver for Team Monster Patrol, but we know he's got great equipment. Let's see what he can do with it.
Schmidt is out of Indiana.
Oh, he almost went over. Did you see the way the front end nose dove on him? He still eked out the win, but that was closer than I thought it would be.
It was a lot closer than I think Rod thought it was going to be, too. I'm sure his heart started beating fast as you look at it again. Maniac does a great job, but it is Monster Patrol barely. And I mean barely.
Rarely see one nosedive like that. Well, here's the man, Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger to take on Marvin Anderson and the Wild Thing.
Marvin Anderson, another Canadian, and Digger is gonna get it. Something happened to Wild Thing.
That's what I love about Gravedigger. Wild Thing didn't even get off the line. It doesn't matter to Dennis Anderson. He knows only one speed, and that's all out.
Coming up, it's going to be battling against Survivor. Now, Survivor is out of Oregon, but he's running against Captain America.
Yeah, from Yakima, Washington, Jeff Boehner taking on Chuck Jordan and Survivor. So a couple of Northwestern trucks. This may be for the Northwestern bragging rights right here in the first round.
And you can hear a little extra noise from this crowd. Wow, great jump by Captain America.
Impressive run by Captain America. Certainly Survivor, the more veteran of these two trucks, the more experienced, the one a lot of us are used to seeing up and down the road. But I'll tell you, Captain America, a good-looking truck, and he came ready to race.
All right. Nearby guy out of Washington, and you see again, horsepower the key. Good start is a key.
Yeah, you cannot lose. You cannot give up a whole shot like Survivor gave up right there, and he knows it, and he knows he's beaten at that point. And boy, did he hit hard. Pieces and parts are flying.
Well, there is our monster cam. And again, so you don't worry, there's nobody underneath that camera. That would be a scary sight. But boy, what a great view it is.
And you can see the breakage and really look like the wheels wanted to come off. I mean, he hit nasty. Wow. Well, Chuck Jordan's got a lot of work to do in the pits.
All right, here's Barefoot, new driver this week.
Mike Dropik's out of Alaska. It's his first shot in the Barefoot truck. We'll see what he's got as he gets ready to go into action right now. He's got big shoes to fill, as we saw from Todd Frolick last week. Obsession is the opponent.
Byron Halverson at the wheel, waving to us, signaling he is ready to go. Byron's got his hands full, though, with Barefoot, who we saw in the Astrodome in Houston was just phenomenal.
Let's see what Mike Dropik can do with all that power. The Keith Black Hemi getting the horsepower to the ground in the Barefoot Dodge against the Canadian. And Obsession actually got the whole shot, but here comes Barefoot.
It's pretty close.
I'm surprised. Wow. I'll tell you what, Obsession hung with him, and Barefoot never seemed to get that burst we're used to seeing from him.
All right, Dropik had to be a little disappointed with that effort.
Mike, for years, drove the Priority 1 truck out of Alaska. He's never really had this kind of power before, and I'll tell you, it's going to take him a while to get used to it.
Oh, we'll see here. You got to be impressed with Obsession, knowing he's such a big underdog. And now our crowd getting revved up. We've got more Monster Jam coming up now. Barefoot and Monster Patrol.
What a great matchup this is going to be. Monster Patrol, like Barefoot, with a brand new driver today. Rod Schmidt behind the wheel of the big Chevrolet out of Indiana. As we've talked about, Mike Dropik is the newest member of the Barefoot team. So you've got two of the most established winning trucks with brand new drivers. It's going to make for a great race and an interesting race.
Mike Dropik out of Illinois in that 97 Dodge Ram, Barefoot. Oh, there's a lot of power. And again, this is all about horsepower here as they head down in a straight line. And getting started is important.
Neither of these trucks have a lack of power. What a race!
It was very, very close.
Monster Patrol by inches, and I think as we look at the replay, Mike, he won it on the start. Watch the whole shot that Rod Schmidt gets in Monster Patrol, and that's going to be the margin of difference at the end. Barefoot was coming. As we've talked about, I think Mike Dropik's getting used to this horsepower, but look at the whole shot.
You are absolutely right. It was the start that did it, and that finish is close.
Barefoot was coming on the end.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you give him another 20 feet, Barefoot would have won the race, but Monster Patrol advances into the semifinals. Now we'll see if Maniac or Samson can make it. You talk about power. We mentioned the Keith Black Hemi that is underneath the hood of the Barefoot machine, also underneath the hood of the Samson machine. And Dan Patrick out of Ohio ready to go. Maniac is a truck out of Canada, Don Frankish, who really can give the big boys a run. Let's see what he's got for Samson here.
Maniac, the underdog in this, but certainly he thinks he can do it on this course.
Look at the air that Samson gets. He absolutely launches off that jump. And I thought Maniac gave it a good test, gave it a great run. Samson just too many horses.
Samson does have a lot of horsepower that you can see. Samson at the top of your screen, and airborne is what really...
You know, over the years of the United States Hot Rod Association sanctioned monster truck racing, of course, Gravedigger has made his name as one of the biggest in the sport. Everybody loves the design of the truck, but I'll tell you, when Dennis Anderson's behind the wheel and he's going full throttle like he is tonight, there is nobody that can jack a crowd more than Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger.
But let's remember that the crowd here might also be for Captain America, who is from Washington, Jeff Banner. And we'll see what Captain America can do.
I was impressed the first run for Captain America. Now he takes on the legend. Good start for Captain America. Digger had to give it everything he had to win that race. He actually catches Captain America in the air.
Let's watch it again, and you will see Dennis Anderson. This is why he is the best.
Absolutely no let up, and you can see how hard he hits. He just keeps coming. Doesn't matter what's in his way. The Gravedigger is heading for the finish line, and another win for Dennis Anderson, but it was very close, and Captain America may be back in the next round as the fastest loser from this round. He had a great run. Now watch the replay here. Anderson actually has to get him in the air. He did the job, though.
Captain America.
Should be. Monster Patrol, Rod Schmidt, the new driver for the team out of Portage, Indiana. Monster Patrol's a top contender anywhere in the country he goes, and Schmidt has done a nice job here in one of his opening runs as the Monster Patrol driver, but he's up against one of the all-time great veterans, Dan Patrick Sampson out of Kingston, Ohio, and let me tell you something Dan Patrick does. He builds horsepower.
And remember, the start is so critical here on this straight run. There's not a lot of distance, so you got to get a great start.
Both trucks got off the line well. They come to the jump. Look at the power we talked about. That Keith Black Hemi engine. But Sampson is looking really like he's limping at the end. Did you see the way the cab just fell over?
Yeah, something was not right there with Sampson at the end. But Sampson certainly had a great run, and it was that tremendous horsepower. Take a look at it again. I thought both trucks had a great start.
Yeah, and they're pretty much even right here. Monster Patrol may even be a little ahead, but he just hammers. Then that, again, I keep talking about the Keith Black Hemi engine, but nothing in monster truck racing is able to put more to the ground in terms of horsepower.
If we see it again, we'll watch that landing. The landing there when he hit one of those ridges that we've used for the Pro Stadium trucks and some of the other events that have gone on here in the Kingdome, and you see a very kind of lame Sampson right now.
Let's see if he gets Gravedigger in the finals. Remember, Captain America, who raced Gravedigger last week, almost beat him.
Right, Captain America, who is from Yakima, Washington, nearby, and you can hear that roar in the background. He's got tons of fans. He is ready to go. Captain America, who was the fast qualifier, will get a rematch with Gravedigger. It was so close. Dennis Anderson has to be a little concerned.
I think so, and I think maybe Dennis is going to try and hammer it harder. Maybe, you know, he doesn't take anybody lightly, but maybe he figured, okay, I got this guy covered, and at the end, Captain America was right there with him. Dennis Anderson's going to give it everything he's got as he puts the Gravedigger in the line, trying to earn a berth against, we hope, Sampson in the finals.
Again, it was Anderson and Gravedigger had a great start last time. That is certainly the key here, and you've seen the horsepower with Sampson and the others. Captain America got a good start, but it looks like Gravedigger got him.
Boy, but he barely got him again. I've got to tip my hat to Captain America and Jeff Boehner. What a run he had. He pushed Dennis Anderson, one of the all-time legends, to the absolute edge and barely lost the race. Digger goes to the finals, though, and that's what he came to do.
Dennis Anderson out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. One of the most famous monster trucks of all, as you can see. Lots of Digger fans here in Seattle, Washington tonight.
Lots of Digger fans everywhere in the country. You get a good look at him here. You know, we always think of the bigger engine making all the horsepower. Dennis Anderson just running a 482 against some of these big block, huge engines, but he knows how to put the horsepower to the ground.
And you get a sense there with that camera angle of just how high up in the air these monster trucks get. An incredible run for Gravedigger.
Going to get another look at Dennis Anderson in the lane closest to us against Jeff Boehner and Captain America. I am so impressed with Captain America. And again, you know he really wanted to turn it up a notch for the hometown fans. You just know he wanted to leave here with a win over Gravedigger, and he almost pulled it off.
Well, Gravedigger, a lot of folks came to see him win tonight. And here in Seattle, Dennis Anderson has had lots of cheers. Gravedigger in the finals against Monster Patrol, because Sampson, unfortunately, just couldn't make it.
It just breaks your heart. Dan Patrick and the guys thrashed all night. But it is Rod Schmidt and Monster Patrol ready to take on the Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson.
What a start for Digger.
Oh, this is over.
Blew him away.
Dennis Anderson, as he has done so many times, cuts an awesome light and never looks back. What a great run for the Gravedigger, as he is the king of Seattle.
And no surprise at all, Gravedigger, who had a couple of close runs with Captain America here. is the way we will close our show tonight. Gravedigger starting off the freestyles, and this is part of the fun part of the show.
Well, and it's perfect that Gravedigger comes out. He was the king of Seattle. He's the king of freestyle. And then I'll tell you, Monster Patrol has learned how to challenge. Monster Patrol with that huge wing has become such a popular freestyler. The fans just love this with both of them out there at the same time, just there to put on a show. The racing is done. This is just for the fans.
Hell, it's just for the fans, and it's fun to enjoy. Hope you've enjoyed being with us on TNN's Motor Madness Monster Jam. Dan Moriarty and Scott Douglas, I'm Mike Hogwood. We'll see you next week for Monster Jam. So long, everybody.